Welcome, everyone. This is our last executive dialogue of today, and it's one I'm really, really excited about. You all know I've talked to each one of you about it. We had Future of Luxury conversation last year, and it was by far one of the most engaging ones, both from the speaker's perspective and the audience perspective. And we thought we just have to continue the conversation. There's so much to be said. And the theme for the conversation is luxury in motion. There's obviously so much happening right now, and there's this tension between innovation and heritage and how to navigate all of that so that luxury can stand the test of time. And I'm excited to dive into that with all of your varied perspectives because all of your profiles and backgrounds are so diverse. So let's maybe start from there. If you could quickly introduce yourself and tell us, what you do, but also what your company does and how that matters in the world. And then we'll kick the conversation off.
Good. Actually, my name is Cedric. I'm a founder of a watch and jewelry boutique here in Switzerland. We are open since 1.5 years, and we created this new store with a different vision of how to approach luxury, and also how to approach my generation in a different way, maybe, and how we make a difference in our world. I mean, we don't save lives, but we can save the time and bring joy to people.
Hi all, my name is Munif Mohammed. I'm the CEO for Legadia Travel Retail in Middle East. So of course we are indirectly selling luxury products, but we'll talk about how we're trying to redefine luxury a little bit as well. Just maybe a few words on what is travel retail business, because it's not always obvious. So when you're traveling through an airport, you'll see duty-free stores, you'll see cafes, you'll see convenience stores. That's what we define as travel retail. It's a specific channel for retailing, quite unique, has its own challenges, but some advantages as well. Globally, it's about 120 billion turnover business. Half of that is duty-free. The other half is food service and convenience. And there are big players in the industry that generally then we finance up to 40% of the airport's operating cost is financed by travel retailers. So it's a big part of the ecosystem of tourism and travel. Thank you.
Thank you very much. My name is Felicitas Morhard. I'm a professor of marketing at the University of Lausanne, and my specialty is luxury marketing. And that's why I created in 2020 the Swiss Center for Luxury Research. So the idea behind is to bring together all the people who bring scholarly knowledge or academic knowledge to the field of luxury, status, and materialism. And I'm personally very interested in the development of status symbols and alternative status symbols. I think we're going to touch about that today too. And 1 year later, I also co-founded the initiative Original Luxury, which is an initiative for the promotion of traceability and transparency technologies in the luxury industry.
So, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for having me. My name is Michela Ratti, and I am the Chief Brand Officer of a company called Ferragamo, or Salvatore Ferragamo. So it's a 100-year-old luxury goods company based in Florence, in Italy. There's so much to say about Ferragamo. I hope I get the opportunity to share a little bit more, but 100 years is a long time. So I think one of the challenges today for luxury brands is how do you keep relevant, and especially how are you able to operate when there's so much consolidation going on in the sector and with people building up. There's so many large groups that have built up significant scale. So I think that's something I'm going to look forward to talking about more with all of you.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Arjun Kaker, and I'm an architect at the international architecture firm Zaha Hadid Architects. And one of my main focuses is on how space shapes human behavior and the human experience. We work at Zaha Hadid Architects from the scale of furniture through to cities. often in the luxury retail and hospitality sectors. And I'm particularly fascinated by how luxury retail can be quietly transformative for people, for brands, for places, for even countries. So thank you very much.
Thanks everyone for joining us today. I'm already getting a little nervous because like 45 minutes is no way enough time to dive into everything, but hopefully we'll get a good start and maybe we continue on a different occasion. But when you look at luxury today, what I'm curious to hear from all of you, obviously different lenses, is what is fundamentally different than a decade ago? What has shifted?
Okay, start. So of course, in my business, we see luxury defined by products first. Of course, brands are doing great things to bring new products, new materials, new concepts, new ideas, but based on heritage, quality, all of those traditional things. What we are starting to see in travel retail, particularly, is that the customer profile is changing quite dramatically. So before, travel was more expensive, more exclusive in a way. Now it's cheaper. A lot more people are traveling, which is good for our business and good for brands as well. But the profile is very different. And we need to probably try to redefine what do we mean luxury. So in our business, we're starting to talk about it. It's not done anywhere near done. How do we redefine luxury? And we're trying to put some attributes around this redefinition, and it's around things like giving back time to the customer, right? Making the experience less stressful, right? Giving them a authentic experience. So when you're traveling through Jeddah Airport, you see something that's right for the sense of place for that airport. So we're not selling a global product everywhere. There is a sense of place for each airport. And then trying to, because travel is a very difficult moment in most people's lives. So we're trying to bring connection back to the human being. So how do we bring some of these attributes more into the airport retailing? Because we do believe that airport retailing is quite a unique retail environment. Downtown nowadays, people don't actually go to stores. You can buy many of the things online. But in our channel, you have to come through the airport, right? So we will always see the customer. And for the brands, it's a great place to tell your story. It's a great place to introduce your products, right? But it has to be done in an environment that's designed right for that storytelling. And unfortunately, today, many of the airports are not in that space.
Thank you.
I think if I had to say what's changed in the last 10 years, I think obviously social media has played a really important role in terms of the democratization of luxury up to a certain extent. What I mean by democratization is things like fashion shows. Everybody has access to experiences that maybe were just for a few people before. That people are able to research their brands, that they're able to research designers, they're able to research what does it stand for. So I think it's become much less of a very select few dictating what's fashionable, what's luxurious to a very select group of people. And I think it's become more about authenticity, what you stand for, and excellence in terms of doing it better than anybody else. And most importantly, how do you make people feel? How do you make people feel? Because I think the whole part of luxury is from the moment that you start thinking about, do I want to buy that item, to the moment where you go into the store, how you're treated, and then when you take it home afterwards. So I think that's been a big change.
I mean, 1 decade ago, I finished my studies, so it's maybe a bit difficult for me to say in a business way. I can speak from my own experience. I was 18 back then, and I was just buying my first watch, and I still feel how it was, and what were the factors why I bought the watch I bought. And I think today we see it with our customers, also with customers in now my age or the age I have back then. There are way more, I think the age of the customer who, when he enters this luxury market, has shifted. Because then back then I was like, with 18 years old, you're buying your first watch. Are you crazy? How that's way too much money. With friends, they said, how can you do that? And today we have so many customers, young customers that are really in this age, 18 years old, 19 years old. Of course, I will buy my first Rolex. Of course, it's that changed a lot. And I think that's the point that you said with social media that really created that difference that we didn't have in this strong way back then. And also, more what I feel with our customers is, or with people that I talk in general, they want to feel good, they want to feel safe, and they want to be in an environment where they're not like, they can be a bit themselves, to be authentic in a way and give them the space, which is super important, to give them the environment to be themselves.
Thank you.
Well, I obviously agree with everything that has been said, but there's, for me, one aspect still that can be added. I would say that what has changed is a move from solid luxury to more liquid forms of luxury. That's a very academic term, but what it means is that it's not so much about the stuff anymore and the objects. They even, restrict freedom of people nowadays. So if you have your chalet in Davos, yeah, that's great. But then you have to go to Davos every season, or rent it out. And the liquid luxury is then, of course, all forms which are more transformative, which are more experiential. And I'm relating back to the previous panel that even the object of luxury is oftentimes becoming the people themselves. So it's becoming a self-directed luxury consumption with peak experiences, with optimizing your body, optimizing, well, your body functions and whatever. So this, I feel, has changed a lot. That's less object-related, but more self-related.
One word that's come up 2 or 3 times is feel, how people feel. And I think that is something when we talk to our clients as architects and what they're looking for in their environments, it's less now about just about being a product showcase and more about really them wanting to understand how people are going to feel in that space, how they're going to feel in the environment. Are they going to feel safe? Are they going to feel comfortable? And we as designers look at so many different elements. So it isn't just, I think as architects, well, at least maybe architecture students really look at what does a place look like? But really it's so much more than that. It's what does it sound like? What does it smell like? What does it feel to touch elements of it? And most importantly, how does it make you feel? And does it put you in a place where you can kind of quiet your mind so that you can focus on understanding the product, learning about a product, deciding if it's the right thing for you? And I think a lot of that then comes down to the idea of, for that person themselves, they're not just thinking about what's it going to look like on me, what's going to be the external appearance, but how is it going to make me feel? How is it going to maybe enhance my inner self as well as my kind of external self?
Thank you so much for that. I love all of it. The self-directed luxury. I think it's like I love that term because I feel like that's what a lot of us are experiencing, right? Investing in ourselves and our health, because without that, everything else is kind of pointless. And we're reaching that stage finally, I think, as a civilization, which is great. I'm curious, speaking of technology a bit more specifically, we're obviously talking about how luxury is evolving, and an important element of that is technology and innovation. Where do you believe, and maybe give us some examples where you believe that technology is genuinely elevating the luxury experience versus diluting it? Yeah.
Okay, I can.
Michaela.
Sorry. I I think there's a lot of ways. I think part of it is that you're able to do things today, even from a content creation standpoint, in terms of narratives of reaching new audiences, but not only, even in terms of things like fit and comfort, which we were talking about before. So in that sense, technology is an enabler, and it's helping us make the impossible more possible. Obviously, I work for a 100-year-old business. It's very artisan intensive. But I think one of the things that we use technology for is how can we enable those artisans even more? Are there things that we can do? So we were saying Salvatore Ferragamo had hundreds of patents, literally. He studied foot anatomy. He looked into equilibrium on how weight is distributed when you walk in heels or with wedge heel. And this is the sort of thing where technology can enable, right? Other than for a company like us, where it's really David versus Goliath, things like supply chain efficiency, things like media efficiency, it allows us to reach more people in a more competitive way, and allows us then to invest in things like the craftsmanship, which is, I think, probably more interesting for our customers, or at least I hope so.
So as I said earlier, one of the things we're trying to do is to give back time to the customer. Airport journeys are very difficult environments. You're stressed through going through security, immigration, customs, and then finally you reach a duty-free store, which if it is not designed well enough, and you're looking to find something, of course, it makes it difficult, right? So we're trying to change that narrative. Of course, there's capex involved and contractual issues involved with the airports as well. But how can we, with technology, how can we make the journey more smooth, more frictionless, and so that when the customer does reach our store, there is a curated offer, not a hundreds and thousands of products, which is the case still today in our business, but a good choice of products, but not so overwhelming so that the customer is still stressed, right, and not able to make the right decision. So of course, luxury has always been something like that. So when you go into a handbag store, LV handbag store, you find only a few SKUs there. It's not the same in the chocolate category, right? You go there, there's so many SKUs. So we're trying to understand with technology, understand the customer better, understand the journey better. Because in our channel, in our retail channel, I was saying earlier, we actually don't know who our customers are. Yeah, they come through the airport, they buy some things, and there are privacy issues. Of course, airport collects a lot more data on the customer, but they cannot share who the individual customer was. So of course, we do some analytics on trying to understand what could be the next demand, next products, or even to fulfill the supply chain. We work on those things, but it's a difficult environment in the sense that our understanding of customers are very limited. Brands probably know our customers more than we do, right? And so technology could help us. And in the industry conferences, we always talk about how can we leverage data more across all the stakeholders so that we can collectively do a better job. Brands, airport authorities, retailers, yeah, all the service providers. So that's a big part where technology will help us in the future.
Thank you so much.
Oh, you could do a whole panel on technology and luxury. I could say quite a lot of things, but I think this is a fundamental question. And over the past 6 months, I have to admit that I really changed my mind on the topic. Because I was a hardcore, authenticity, craftsmanship, old values like nya, nya, nya. And I have to say that, I mean, working with young people at the university, looking what's going on, I'm having a lot of respect of what is happening on a technological side. And I think there is a huge difference whether we treat technology as a tool to make things more convenient, maybe make better predictions, or whether we treat it as a cultural phenomenon. And high-tech culture is a reality, and luxury is a carrier of culture. And so we cannot not intake technology, but we need to interpret in a way which is interesting for society. So if it's just gimmicky or if it is just tools, then it's emotionally flat or emotionally light. But there is much more to technology culture which would allow us to enrich the luxury experience on a meaningful level. So thinking about what meaning does technology create for us as human beings, and what will it create when people in 200 years look back to our times? Maybe then this is already old-fashioned, right? But what was the cultural meaning of this for luxury?
From an architect's perspective, we use an enormous amount of flow analysis, for instance, and all these different types of spatial analysis when we're designing a building to try to understand what the users are going to need, run different scenarios. But the problem is, when we're designing a building, when we're in the concept design of an airport, for instance, that is maybe 4 years before it actually goes online. And that is year one of what's hopefully 50 years of the airport. And by then, so much has changed. The users have changed, the airlines have changed, everything's changed. And so what we need to do is we need to provide adaptive, flexible spaces. But how do you adapt them? Well, how technology is really helping us now is that we can assess how, on a day-to-day basis, minute by minute, how people are using spaces. And the technology can help us to slowly adapt those spaces so that they are always up to date with the needs of the users. And the way we're starting to look at this is how technology can help us to create self-learning, even self-evolving buildings. And maybe 5-10 years' time, the way we evolve these buildings is not like you see it at the moment in an airport, where suddenly a whole area is cordoned off and it's been ripped out, and 6 months later there's something new in it. But instead, every month, every week, every day, there's just slight changes that you don't even notice, like what we see in nature around us. So that if you went to the airport the next week, next month, you wouldn't notice any difference. But if you went next year, oh my gosh, it would look so different. And technology is really allowing us to do that, really keeping up with people's needs. And I think one other very quickly thing is that that's more the macro level, but on a micro level, we can also adapt luxury environments so that they become much more bespoke to the individuals in that space at the time. That the lighting can slightly change, the temperature can slightly change around those people's individual requirements. So we can create much more tailored environments.
Thank you so much. I mean, we can go on and on. There's so much to dive into here. But I want to hear from all of you, what is, as a closing round, what is your hope for the future of luxury? Like, what do you hope luxury will stand for if we were sitting here 10 years from now? What's your hope?
I mean, I hope to say in 10 years that luxury, or whatever luxury will mean then, is something that lasts, because luxury, in my opinion, is also something that should be timeless in a way. Either on a product, it should be also durable, because I think we are a bit gone from this flashy, quickly changing luxury to this more qualitative, quiet luxury. And I think that this will continue more and more. And I hope also that people are a bit more aware of what is quality, because in my opinion, quality means luxury, because that what makes us feel different. That's when we see, okay, maybe we have a bit less, but better, and to be happier with having less, but really to take care from everyone's point of view to say, hey, I rather have a bit less, but really better things that make me happy and my environment. As you said about the house, okay, house, as you said, is nice, but you have to maintain it, and you have to fill it with something. And when you can fill it with friends, with experiences, that is what makes the house worthy. And that's the same with luxury, in my opinion.
That's okay. That's very beautiful.
Yeah.
That's a lovely thing to say.
We need a moment here.
No, it's very beautiful. I think that luxury is, in a way, it is a gesture of love from the people who are the artisans and that work in making creations, which is the sort of like ultimate gesture of customer centricity. No, so I agree in what you say. It's and if I think about our founder, Salvatore Ferragamo, used to say that he could tell a woman's personality from her feet. He used to insist in touching everybody's feet and feeling them and making that. Obviously, that's very hard to do at scale now, but I would like to think that we try and create a beautiful, meaningful experience as much as possible, and something that will last with time. Also for the planet. It's a gesture of sustainability, but that's, yeah, I don't have much to add on what you said. It was lovely.
So the way we see luxury in the future is it's more inclusive, and we become more intimate with our customer. Today we are, as I was saying, we don't even know who our customers are. So that dimension. So of course there's a product dimension, which we as a retailer, we respect the brands and we want the brands to do well in our stores. But the customer experience side is what we are more focused on. So how do I become more inclusive and get to know the customer better, and maybe give them a better experience in the store that's more authentic, more sustainable. It's a big challenge for our industry to become more sustainable, but we are all working hard on it. So it's more inclusive and more intimate with our customers in the future.
I also go very much into the direction of purpose and meaning. What I felt happened a lot during the past 10 years was such a commercial business opportunity that many people who are in the luxury business have seen, which I found was a deterioration of the why we do luxury. And my hope is that there are brands, even I think there's a nice window of opportunity for new brands who bring this real sense of, I want to make a difference, I want to make something beautiful, I want to make something with love and create meaning. And relating back to the previous panel, we heard that having a purpose in what you do is not only good for the people who are producing it, but I mean, everyone who then purchases these things can connect to this and it all becomes meaningful. So this commercial greediness, I think that was something we should not be so proud of in the luxury industry. Thank you.
I think really kind of luxury for life, really, having luxury that lasts for much, much longer. And therefore, it's much more sustainable. I remember King Charles, when he was called Prince Charles, I read something about him. And it was when I was very young. And he talked about how he only had about 3 pairs of shoes. And I was thinking, but you're a prince. And he talked about how he had the same shoes that he would get resold and rehealed multiple times. And that idea, of course, those were bespoke shoes that were made for him, but I think that's part of the solution as well. It's really creating individualized luxury for people. Luxury that people cherish so much and look after and is so well made and so well crafted. And maybe technology comes into that to be able to create this individualized solution for everyone. Having luxury for life. Yeah.
Love that. Thank you so much, everyone. We will wrap up here, but my hope is that all of your hopes come true, because if I heard you right, we will be healthier, we will be happier. If luxury is, if we're redefining success and luxury in this way, we'll be not only healthier and happier, but we'll also do good for the environment. So I hope all of your hopes come true, and let's work together and do what's in our power. Thank you.
Thank you.